It is the year 2024. Students around the world are brought up in technologically enhanced environments. Their attention constantly divided between their immediate context and the digital tools which they use for studying, language learning, gaming, shopping, communication, life organization, content creation, media consumption, and participation in online communities. Alongside the pressure to become functional members in all their real-life and digital communities, they are constantly exposed to the advertisements of brands, companies, and service providers, their streamings of travel, lifestyle, and political influencers, and also to conflicting media content related to cultural, technological, economic, demographic, and environmental challenges. Teachers all around the world are seeing that 21st century students are different from what they got used to. They like complex tasks and they learn English fast. They know how to collaborate with others, find resources and information, and produce all sorts of audio-visual content with the help of digital tools. They are creative and open-minded, but often feel disoriented and anxious about living in a globalized, digitalized, hypersonic world. Considering the needs and preferences of the students, the role of English language teachers is changing, and their main responsibility now is to create learning communities in which students feel safe to ask questions about the issues they find puzzling in their local and global contexts. Developing such questions into challenging discussion-based, input-rich, result-oriented, and creative exploratory activities is a capacity that must be attained by all English language teachers. In multicultural and digitalized contexts, the repertoires of English language teachers must also include activities which encourage students to explore what sociocultural backgrounds they come from, what they value and work towards in life, what feelings, beliefs and experiences govern their development as individuals, and how to interact responsibly with people who have different answers to the very same questions. Engaging with such questions and activities is part of what we call the identity focus in 21st century education. But what exactly is identity, and what should English language teachers know about it? Join us and find out more from this episode. Well, the easiest way to understand identity is to ask questions like, who am I? What are the things that make me unique and different from other individuals? What are the things that define me as a person right now, in this phase of my life? What are my roots? What are my interests? Who are the people that surround me? And what do they think about me based on our interactions? These are the types of questions we need to ask when we are trying to understand our own identities or the identities of others around us. Now, something that identity researchers around the world agree about is that living our lives in globalized, digitalized, and frequently changing contexts has made it highly difficult for many of us to answer such questions about our identities. This problematic is explained very well by identity expert David Block, who says the following. Identity is seen to develop in what Matthews called the cultural supermarket. Just as the modern supermarket offers foods from all over the world in all shapes and sizes, so the international media and advanced technology together make available to individuals around the world a range of identities to be assumed. However, this is not a free market where anyone can choose and take the identities they desire. There are many limitations to that. In this sense, understanding our identities very often involves an exploration of the socio-cultural, geopolitical, socio-economic, or other constraints that interfere with our processes of selecting and living by the identity categories that we desire the most. And to make it even more interesting, identity expert Gergana Vitanova draws attention to the widely shared view that a true core identity does not actually exist. Instead, we display different fragments of ourselves depending on the settings we occupy or the discourses we need to take up. This means that each one of us is likely to take up different identity positions in the many different social roles and situations we can get into, either in our physical or digital realities. To use a concrete example, Marianne and Thomas Bloor explain how an average person like Ahmed needs to step into and act within multiple social roles every day. At home, he is a husband and father, but during his working day, he is an architect. And he is also the accountant of the local tennis club where, on Saturday mornings, he acts as an umpire. In each of these roles, he is engaged in different social practices and the language associated with those practices. When he is being a father, he behaves like a father and sounds like a father. When he is being an umpire, he looks like an umpire and sounds like an umpire. And so on, in every role. And yet, at the same time, he is always himself. The point of this example is that with the changing of his momentary social roles and situations, Ahmed will readily adapt and decide which identity categories and positions is required to pull out from his overall sense of himself and use in a given role or situation. In each of the listed roles, he is likely to display and enact different bits of himself to the people around him. And this is why experts say that our lives are governed by multiple identity positions and categories at once, instead of one single core identity. Because of this understanding, researchers often say that we should look at identities and social roles as the puzzle pieces that make us who we are, or as a collection of different hats in somebody's wardrobe. Arguably, the best option is using a combination of these images to express that some parts of our identities are born with us and unchangeable, like puzzle pieces, but many other parts are selected by us willingly, like hats in the control supermarket. Another popular option in describing our identities is to use the image of a kaleidoscope, and this is perhaps the best way of saying that identities are not fixed and stable. Some parts of our identities are known to change over time, leaving us with a different overall image. This idea is better explained by educational researchers Maria Ruoholt-Lehti and Josephine Morte, who say that identity is always an ongoing phenomenon, with moments of greater and less stability in relation to the wider social context. Showing these images and passing on these understandings to students is a crucial objective of 21st century English language education, because this way we can save them from many identity struggles they are likely to face in the globalized and digitalized world. For many students, managing different identity options and maintaining a healthy sense of self is a daily struggle, which feels like clogging holes and trying to prevent the sinking of the ship they are sitting on. It is the task of teachers to have students accept that our identities are complex and shape-shifting entities within us. What they need to learn is to explore the different bits of their identities one by one over time. But meanwhile, they shouldn't forget to focus on many other things up there in life. If you are still watching at this point, probably you are an English language teacher and you want to know how you can use all this knowledge about identity in classroom practice. You want to know what kinds of activities you should integrate into your teaching to help students explore various bits of their identities over a school year or an academic semester. Well, the internet itself is an endless source of videos, pictures, texts, and other materials that can be used to raise identity-related questions and have discussions in class. But you should really start your journey with 2 recent books that are full of relevant classroom activities and teaching guides. In the first one, you will find activities which are built around literature and different types of literary texts, with templates, reading lists, task ideas, and all the like. The second one is more diverse in terms of activities, and it has a sequential approach, first focusing on self-understanding and then moving on to global issues which are likely to impact our identities. Both are wonderful and teacher-friendly resources. Thanks for watching. Oh, and please don't forget to share your own suggestions in the comments and check out our upcoming videos in this series. See you next time.